Game 5 between the Montreal Canadiens and Vegas Golden Knights gets going tonight from T-Mobile Arena. That's Aaron Ward and Shane Kelly. I'm David Pagnotta. Our coverage brought to you by Bitbuy, Canada's #1 cryptocurrency platform. And Wardo, let's start with the Montreal Canadiens, who played very well in Game 4, but came out on the losing end. What do the Habs need to do to change that in Game 5?
I think honestly nothing. I think they're in foreign territory that over the course of the playoffs, they have not been in this kind of position where you come out of a game, you lose, and you realize that you played one of your best games. Montreal, from the optics level, when you start watching the game overall, I mean, they were just dominant. I mean, some things can't change. Clearly, Dom Ducharme's still in quarantine, but overall, I mean, this is a team that should feel confident. Walking back in that locker room, even after a loss, you just have to get over that mental hurdle of being so close to taking a 3-1 lead. Goaltending was stellar. Defense was solid. Forwards were great. Systematically, they were sound. So it's just a bad bounce and an opportunity that Vegas gets. And I feel like Montreal has to have the perspective that they are doing very well for themselves and not to, well, actually resist the urge to change anything, because that's where you get yourself out of sorts.
Yeah, it's funny. The analytics folk like me have been saying all playoffs, hey, Montreal, you're riding your luck. This is unsustainable. And, now for the first time, they're getting to taste their own medicine where they run up against Robin Lehner, who has an incredible game. He let in 1 goal. The stats said he should have let in something closer to 3. So he really did bail out Vegas in that game. But Montreal won the possession battle. They won the expected goals battle. They had more slot shots. So to Aaron's point, there's not much that you can look at and say, oh, you got to change it. But it was kind of honestly a little funny to see the roles reverse here.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like we'll see any roster changes from Montreal's perspective going into tonight. It looks like Chandler Stevenson will return to the lineup. He was taking his normal rushes in practice in the morning pregame skate, so we'll see exactly if he gets in there. Goaltending-wise, flip a coin, because we're not going to know until game time, Robin Lehner or Marc-Andre Fleury. What about Vegas's offense and what they bring to the table here, Wardo? Is there anything that they need to do now that Tuch can slot back on the third line?
I think you have to look at the value of familiarity. The fact that Tuch and they've reassembled that line. Stevenson's back in. I think that from an overall perspective, Vegas has at their disposal what they've been so good at, is that's rolling 4 lines. And given the opportunity to play against Montreal with a full arsenal of forwards, maybe you're going to get Montreal back on their heels a little bit. But overall, again, this is a Vegas team that just finished a game where they gave up a ton of grade A chances. I'm not even talking the analytics. I'm thinking about the Caulfield breakaway, the number of outnumbered chances. It was unlike Vegas over the course of the playoffs. So they have to kind of reaffirm or reboot on what their identity is. And I think that's what's essential for Vegas. Whoever they put in net right now, I think putting Lehner was in response to almost taking away the distraction of the giveaway and how that game ended, putting the onus on a team to play an inspired game, get them to rally around Robin Lehner, who had, in his only performance in the playoffs, a horrendous performance, giving up a ton of goals. I think it refocused Vegas under adversity. Now waiting for us and everybody else to figure out who they're putting in net. I don't think it matters to anybody in that locker room. I think Vegas's perspective is go home, play in front of a sound, enthusiastic crowd in Vegas, and try and put on a performance for them that's not showy, just effective.
I mean, to me, the answer is pretty obvious. Fleury, to be honest, has been pretty average to slightly below on the numbers all series. We had talked before the last game, about bringing in Lehner. I think you got to ride him. The other issue, though, that Vegas might be able to solve with bringing in Stevenson is, yes, they've won the possession battle in most of the games in this series, but Montreal has consistently created the better scoring chances. So Stevenson has been arguably their best center all year. Bringing him in lengthens the lineup. It might help them create some better scoring chances because, otherwise I could see this becoming a real goaltending battle. And I don't know that that's where Vegas wants to take this series, even though Lehner was so good in Game 4.
I think the big dilemma, though, for Pete DeBoer is if you're going to throw Fleury back in there and he fails, you've already kind of used up an opportunity, right? So if you ride Lehner, you can always go back on the choice and default to Fleury, where if you're playing the circus of goaltenders, that can get messy in the playoffs. And you don't want messy in the playoffs. You want stability.
Yeah, we'll see how stable the Vegas Golden Knights can get here and trying to take a 3-2 lead going back to Montreal on Thursday. We'll see how this one turns out, and we'll catch you after the game. That's Aaron Ward and Shane Kelly. I'm David Pagnotta.